To say that Ubisoft are in trouble right now is an understatement. Their stock price has plummeted this year, and they've just had a colossal fail with the game Star Wars Outlaws starring Mam Solo. But the good news for them is they're about to get their second colossal L of the year with the latest Assassin's Creed game. Set in feudal Japan, it doesn't star a male Japanese protagonist, instead a black male protagonist. And they decided to call the game Shadows. I cannot meme progressives more than they do to themselves. But not only that, they've decided to tick off the whole of Japan and now just spit in their face, really. Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. As you know, nothing brings me more joy in life than to see a Western gaming company self-destruct. And pretty much at the top of this list right now is Ubisoft. Remember Skull and Bones? No, of course you don't, because nobody's playing it. It was touted as Ubisoft's first quadruple A game, whereas the only quadruple thing about it was the price tag for it to be played in early access. Head of Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot, replied with the assertion that Skull and Bones deserves to be a full-price game of $70 because of its scale. You will see that Skull and Bones is a fully fledged game, he said. It's a very big game. The biggest game. And we feel that people will really see how vast and complete that game is. It's a really full quadruple A game that will deliver in the long run. But you just said how vast and complete the game is now, but it'll only deliver in the long run. Sir, that is called a contradiction. This goes on top of a plethora of cancelled games or games that are just in development hell. Then came along Star Wars Outlaws, starring Mam Solo, a game that you just know when it was in early development was meant to be a Han Solo game, but then somebody had the bright idea to put a bland, ugly, brunette female protagonist as the lead and tank any hopes of the game actually succeeding, rushing it out in clearly an unpolished and broken state.
Yep, I'll walk it off.
Are you sure about that?
Plenty more where that came from, as well as absolutely ridiculous storytelling.
Press more button.
The distress beacon.
The rebels.
Jabba, you missed me.
As if Jabba the Hutt would give a fuck about you. What?
God, I love Morley. Coming from that Park Place, Star Wars Outlaws nearly falls off the top 40 most popular PlayStation games list less than a month after launch. Another failure for the Star Wars brand and another failure for Ubisoft. But hot off the heels of that incredible game was, well, the destruction of their stock price. This year alone, it's plummeted by 50%, with the vast majority of it occurring around the July mark, when we actually saw footage from Star Wars Outlaws, and we'd also got the announcement of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, to say that people didn't want an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan would be a lie. It's an excellent setting, particularly off the success of Ghost of Tsushima, a game that not only did exceedingly well in the West, but was highly revered by the Japanese people themselves. The Western gaming company that developed it, Sucker Punch, were even made ambassadors of the island of Tsushima itself, a very high accolade indeed. And if Ubisoft had the two main protagonists as a Japanese male and a Japanese female, I don't think we'd have any of the controversy that we have now. But instead, they took a historical figure called Yasuke, a black male that wasn't in any way, shape, or form confirmed to be a samurai, made him a samurai, and has caused a complete shitstorm. Now, if the main male protagonist was a white Westerner, this shitstorm would be just the same, no different, but the progressives are now hiding behind Yasuke's color and claiming racism, which they always do. Mark Kern was following this story and posted this on X. There is a huge argument erupting amongst Japanese and Japanese historians right now. Yu Hirayama has been so blasted by Japanese people on X that he has stopped tweeting about it after going viral. Entertainment consultant, historian, and professor at the University of Health Sciences has proclaimed Yasuke is a samurai. He brings no new information, citing the same scant sources Lockley used, which boils down to it doesn't say Yasuke was not a samurai. Critics point out Hirayama is a known Communist Party supporter and claims he is a globalist via his work with the Pony Entertainment Group. But his identity as Japanese historian has inflamed huge backlash. Japanese and other Japanese historians are upset he's given foreigners false ammunition to defend Lockley, which he never directly supports, whose 400-page book makes many spurious claims such as slavery was popular in Japan, and for promoting false narratives to foreigners about the Japanese. His argument is drawn from the same three source sentences that everybody else has already discussed. 1, that Yasuke was given a stipend. 2, that Yasuke was given a sword, and 3, that Yasuke was given a home. But so were many non-samurai, including merchants, according to critics. Also, it's claimed that he lied about the sword given to Yasuke, which was only a short sword and not the long sword of samurai, according to these critics. In fact, Hirayama himself says that all this, under the most generous interpretations, could only grant the lowest status of fighting man to Yasuke, which he claims could very well be samurai or later promoted to samurai. But others point out was not samurai in the sense that the West views it, nor any legendary or important status. Now, this is just discussing Japanese people that are having a go at this historian, because all they're claiming is that Yasuke got a stipend, a sword of unknown size, and a property which in itself would not necessarily qualify for Yasuke to be granted status as a samurai, so much so that he was driven off social media, and even the Japanese people created a petition to have the game cancelled, which currently has over 105,000 signatures. With it being such a bone of contention and no real evidence to support the narrative that they were trying to push, as irresponsible as it was, maybe the, I would imagine, predominantly black development team were just very enthusiastic about this character of Yasuke and wanted to place him within their world. So let's have a look at this development team, shall we? Da da da. Da 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 da. Whoop boo. Yeah, this really is a story as old as time itself, isn't it? A bunch of progressives irresponsibly grab hold of something which may or may not be in any way, shape, or form historically accurate, but it does conform to their ideologies. So even though they may offend a country in the process, they'll still push it because stunning und brave, which leads to the mainstream media creating articles like this, aka gaslighting. They wouldn't want an African Assassin's Creed either, says the gamer, emphasis on gay, when in actuality the setting for a tribal-based Assassin's Creed game actually makes a lot of sense and is something that Eric July and I have discussed in our Rip and the Silverback show, which is on later today, by the way, with the added hilarity that not only would gamers probably be very receptacle to this, but if they put a white protagonist as the main character, people would be up in arms about that. Congratulations, gamer, you played yourself. So you've been irresponsible with history for the sake of progressive ideology. You've pissed off a whole nation because of it, and you can't really use the racist defense because it's their fucking country. So where'd you go from here? Well, easy. You spit in the face of that country now. From that park place again, Ubisoft trashed after Assassin's Creed Shadows debuts new collector's collectible featuring Yasuke and Nae alongside what appears to be a destroyed Torii gate. So what is the significance about this? Well, the figure has a one-legged Torii gate, which actually has massive significance in Japan, namely Nagasaki. And the fact that I've mentioned that name probably makes you realize exactly why. This is the Sanao Shrine and the one-legged Torii gate in Nagasaki City. It's partially destroyed due to the atom bomb. While everything else around it was utterly obliterated, this still managed to hold up. And so the cultural significance that it has to the Japanese people is immense. And to have this irresponsible company with their irresponsible history now putting a one-legged Torii gate into their toy has inflamed the Japanese once again, with this poster on X saying, "Please spread the word. Assassin's Creed Shadow figures from Ubisoft, a famous Japanese hate and criminal company. Ouch. A figurine of a destroyed Torii gate has been released, which is believed to be based on the one-leg Torii gate that was destroyed in the Nagasaki atomic bombing. I have never seen a one-legged Torii other than the one destroyed by the American atomic bomb in Nagasaki." So you have to start asking yourself some legitimate questions. Is this the work of a company that is so mismanaged and irresponsible that they've not done their correct due diligence when it comes to historical accuracies and also the cultural significance of certain things within a country, all in the name of pushing their ideological values? Or is this a company that is being purposely disrespectful to another nation in an effort to rewrite history because that is what its ideology now demands, as we've seen time and time again? There's nothing racist about pointing these things out. The hilarity comes again when you are branded as racist for doing so, which, as we all know, is more gaslighting to protect the revisionist history that's being pushed upon people. So with that being said, the Tokyo Game Show is coming up shortly and Ubisoft will have the right of reply now. They'll be able to discuss with people the decisions that they've made within the video game and maybe even address the decision that was made with that toy as well. Hopefully shed some light on their creative process, shall we say. Ubisoft has cancelled its Tokyo Game Show plans at the last minute. You can't make this shit up. You really can't. Ubisoft cancels online presentation at Tokyo Game Show in 2024. Disappointing fans. I'm not too sure about disappointing fans, but maybe disappointing people who wanted to challenge them on their decision-making processes. 2024 had mixed success for Ubisoft games, with some flops and some well-received titles. The flops, though, are coming in at hundreds of millions of dollars worth of development. And that's the big thing, because not only are your games flopping, but you're alienating audiences now. Hell, you've alienated a whole fucking country. But it's not as if Japan are a massive fan of video games. Oh my god, how stupid are you? Speculation surrounds Ubisoft's decision to skip Tokyo Game Show, but no official reason has been given. I think it's perfectly clear that the reason why they don't want to be there is they don't want to engage in discussion with audiences. They have a very set idea about how they want to push their ideology in video games, and gamers have a very specific idea about the games they actually want to play. And I guess never the twain shall meet. The Western gaming industry is aflame right now, and Ubisoft are pretty much the accelerant which is consistently burning. It is a problem of their own creation, like it's tended to be with pretty much every single Western gaming company right now. The prioritization of ideology above entertainment is alienating audiences. And the longer you have the attitude of we'll wait until they come around to our way of thinking, the more customers you're going to lose. You as a corporation, you as an entity, you as game developers are gonna have to start coming around to your potential customers' way of thinking. Unlike your BlackRock bum chums that want to force behavioral changes, you're not going to be able to do that when an audience has plenty of other places that they can go to. And if the West isn't offering it, you better believe me, the East is, and they will gobble up your customers like a fat boy gobbles up cake. And just as I was about to wrap up the video with a goodbye, breaking news, Ubisoft have updated their financials, and guess what? Assassin's Creed has been delayed. Due to release in November of this year, it's now been pushed back to February of 2025, showing a failure in their financials this year and an attempt to bolster 2025's. But guess what, Ubisoft? I don't think it's going to work, and it shows the lack of faith that you truly have in this game. I'll see you in the next video. You take care. Bye for now.